They say silence is golden. But let me tell you, sometimes silence is expensive. Specifically, the price of every single piece of furniture in a 4-bedroom house. I remember the exact moment my mother screamed. It wasn't a scream of pain, but a scream of pure, unadulterated shock. I wasn't there to see it. I was miles away, sipping tea in an apartment that finally felt like mine, but I heard about it. That scream was the sound of a toxic family realizing their safety net had just walked out the door, taking the floorboards with her. My name is Sarah. For 26 years, I was the good one. The reliable one. The one who didn't need a vacation because she was too busy paying for everyone else's. Until one day, they booked a trip to paradise and left me behind. They thought I'd stay home and guard the castle. They didn't realize the castle actually belonged to me. If you've dodged this bullet in your own life, congratulations. But if you are facing this, or suspect you're about to be the extra in your own family, watch closely how I tackle it. This trick might just save your bacon. Family revenge is about to expose secrets you never thought possible. You don't wake up one morning and decide to empty your parents' house. That kind of rage implies a history. It builds, layer by layer, like sediment turning into stone. Growing up, the dynamic was subtle. I was the eldest, which meant capable. My sister, Emily, was 3 years younger, which meant fragile. I remember when I was 16, I got my first job at a diner. I wanted to save for a car. But 2 months in, my dad sat me down. "Sarah, honey," he said, "times are tight. We need help with the electric bill." So I gave it. Then it was the water bill. Then groceries. By the time I was 22, I wasn't just a daughter, I was a third parent. Meanwhile, Emily was finding herself. She needed dance lessons. She needed the newest iPhone to fit in. I stood in the kitchen one night, staring at a pile of past due notices I had just paid off with my bonus, while Emily pranced in showing off a $200 pair of boots Mom had bought her. "Aren't they cute?" Mom chirped. "I thought we were broke." I asked, my voice flat. Mom didn't even look up. "Oh, don't be jealous, Sarah. Emily needs to look presentable for her interviews. You have a job. You're fine." That was the phrase, "you're fine." It became a prison. Because I was competent, I was invisible. Because I didn't complain, they assumed I didn't hurt. I bought the new sofa because the old one hurt Dad's back. I bought the 65-inch TV because the family needed to bond. I bought the microwave, the coffee maker, even the rug in the hallway. I have receipts for everything. Not because I was planning to leave, but because I'm an accountant at heart. I track things. I was buying their love, hoping that if I provided enough, they'd finally see me. Let me ask you, have you ever felt like you have to buy your place in the family? Or that being responsible is actually a punishment? Comment invisible below if you know exactly what I'm talking about. The crack in the foundation happened on a Tuesday. I came home tired. Double shift. I walked in, and the energy in the house was buzzing. Suitcases were out. "Going somewhere?" I asked, dropping my keys on the console table I paid for. Mom was beaming. "The resort confirmed. We're going to Cabo for a week." My heart skipped a beat. A family vacation? Finally. I needed a break so badly. I started doing mental math, wondering how much PTO I had left. "That sounds amazing," I said, smiling. "When do we leave?" "I need to tell my boss." The room went silent. Dead silent. Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at the TV. Emily looked at her phone. "Well," Mom started, using that high-pitched voice she uses when she's guilty. "Here's the thing, Sarah. We ran the numbers. And we just can't afford 2 extra tickets. It's a couple's package, +1. I stood there, blinking. +1? Emily needs this, Dad chimed in, gruffly. She's been stressed about her career path. She needs to clear her head. I work 60 hours a week, I whispered. I pay the mortgage interest. I pay for the groceries you're eating right now. Don't make this about money, Mom snapped. You always do that. You're meaningful to us, but Emily she's at a delicate stage. Besides, you're so independent. You'd be bored just laying on a beach. You have work. I looked at Emily. She finally looked up, a smirk playing on her lips. Not a grateful smile. A victory smirk. Sorry, sis, she said. Maybe next time. That was it. The smirk. Inside my chest, something didn't just break, it incinerated. They weren't just leaving me behind, they were gaslighting me into thinking I should be happy about it. I laughed. A cold, dry laugh. Okay, I said. I understand completely. You guys go. Have the best time. They relaxed instantly. See? Mom hugged me. I knew you'd understand. You're our rock, Sarah. Oh, I was a rock all right. A rock that was about to crush their reality. If your family told you they couldn't afford you, but could afford your sibling, would you scream? Or would you do what I did, plan in silence? Hit the like button if you think I should have screamed right then and there. The day they left, I waved goodbye from the porch. As soon as the car turned the corner, I walked back inside. The silence wasn't lonely, it was strategic. I walked room to room with my folder. The folder I called the receipts. Living room, sofa, $1,200. TV, $800. Rug, $300. Coffee table, $250. All mine. Kitchen, fridge, I replaced it last year. Microwave. The expensive blender Emily used for her smoothies. My dishes. My pots. Bedroom, the mattress in the guest room. The curtains. I called the movers. I need a full pack and move. ASAP. Everything on this list. 2 days later, the truck arrived. The movers were confused. You're taking the light bulbs? One guy asked. I bought the smart bulbs, I replied calmly. Take them. It took 8 hours. Watching the house empty out was like watching a skeleton being revealed. Without my contributions, the house was just a shell. Dirty walls, scuffed floors, and the old, broken recliner Dad refused to throw out literally the only thing I hadn't paid for. I moved into a beautiful apartment downtown. A place with a view, a doorman, and peace. I set up my furniture in my space. It looked incredible. For the rest of the week, I ignored their texts. Having drinks by the pool. Mom sent a photo. Wish you were here. Kinda. Emily. I didn't reply. I just drank wine in my fully furnished living room and waited. Imagine the feeling of taking back every single thing you worked for. Is it petty? Or is it justice? Before we get to the explosive ending, comment justice if you're rooting for me. Sunday night. 8 p.m. My phone lit up. It started with a text from Mom, ? Then a call. Then a FaceTime from Dad. Then Emily blowing up my inbox. I finally answered the FaceTime. Dad's face was red, veins popping. Behind him, I could see the empty living room. It echoed. Where is everything? He screamed. We've been robbed. Sarah, call the police. We haven't been robbed, Dad, I said, sipping my tea. I moved out. You what? But the TV. The couch. The fridge. Mom shrieked from the background. How are we supposed to eat? How are we supposed to sit? I'm not sure, I said. But I hear you saved a lot of money on that third plane ticket. Maybe use that? The realization hit them. You selfish little dad started. Stop, I cut him off. Check your email. I sent a spreadsheet. It lists every item I took, matched with the date of purchase and the bank transaction from my account. I took what was mine. Nothing more, nothing less. But we're a family. Emily cried. You can't just strip the house. A family includes everyone, Emily, I said softly. You guys made it very clear that I am an option, not a priority. Well, my furniture is a priority to me. I hung up. For weeks, they tried everything. Threats to sue, the lawyer laughed at them. Guilt trips. Love bombing. But here is the twist. Emily came to see me a month later. She looked tired. Without my money, the luxury lifestyle was gone. She had to get a real job. It's hard, Sarah, she admitted, looking at her feet. Mom and Dad are fighting all the time about money now that you aren't covering the gaps. I know, I said. Welcome to adulthood, Emily. She looked around my apartment. You look happy. I am, I told her. Because for the first time, I'm investing in myself. They wanted me to feel guilty. Instead, I felt free. If you could say one thing to your toxic family members right now, without fear, what would it be? Drop your truth bombs in the comments. I didn't let them back in easily. I set boundaries harder than steel. Low contact. No financial help. If they want to see me, they come to a neutral coffee shop, and they pay for their own coffee. The house is still half empty. They couldn't afford to replace the quality stuff I bought. Every time they sit on a folding chair or stare at a blank wall, they are reminded of what they took for granted. Here is the Su Kanya Method takeaway for you today. You cannot set yourself on fire to keep others warm, even if they share your DNA. Boundaries aren't mean, they are necessary for survival. When you remove your support from people who don't appreciate it, you aren't punishing them. You are simply letting them experience the reality they created. If you are the Sarah of your family, stop waiting for them to change. Pack your boxes. Keep your receipts. And build your own castle. Would you choose revenge or forgiveness? Or is moving on the best revenge of all? Don't forget to like. Subscribe to the Su Kanya Method for more stories of strength and reclaiming your life. I'll see you in the next video. You always do. That phrase. It wasn't a compliment. It was a shackle. It meant, you are the one we can hurt because you won't fight back. I laughed, but it came out sharp. Right. Of course. I'll understand. They went back to planning bikinis and beach outfits. They didn't notice the way I looked at the TV I bought. The coffee maker I bought. The rug I bought. They thought they were leaving me behind. They had no idea I was mentally checking items off a shopping list I already owned. If you were in my shoes, at that moment, would you scream? Would you cry? Or would you do what I did, become absolutely, terrifyingly calm? Comment below what you would do instantly. I want to know. For me, the morning they left was like a stage play. They hugged me, told me to water the plants, promised to bring me a souvenir. A souvenir. As if a keychain could replace respect. As soon as their car engine faded down the driveway, the silence in the house wasn't lonely. It was an opportunity. I walked into my room and pulled out the folder. Yes, I had a folder. Receipts. Invoices. Bank statements. Proof. I called the movers I had scheduled 2 days prior. It's mostly furniture and appliances, I told them. Everything I personally paid for. When the movers arrived, I directed them with military precision. The couch? Mine. Take it. The 65-inch TV? Mine. Take it. The dining table? Mine. The microwave, the blender, the expensive curtains? Mine, mine, mine. We stripped that house. The living room went first, leaving only the old, stained recliner my dad refused to throw out years ago. The kitchen lost its shine, leaving behind mismatching chipped plates from the 90s. I left some things on purpose. The ugly lamp my mom loved. The scratched side table Jessica insisted on keeping. I wanted the contrast. I wanted the empty spaces to scream at them louder than I ever could. It took 6 hours. By the time the last box was loaded, the house echoed. It felt hollow. But for the first time, it felt honest. It reflected exactly how I felt inside it, used and empty. I moved into a new apartment, a one-bedroom near the beach. I set up my furniture. I watched my TV. And I turned off my phone. They came back on a Sunday evening. I wasn't there, obviously, but my best friend Rachel lives 2 doors down. She sent me the play-by-play text messages. "Girl, your mom is screaming in the driveway. Your dad looks like he's having a heart attack. Jessica is crying on the porch." Then came the calls. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Mom. Dad. Jessica. Mom again. Voicemail after voicemail. Sarah. We've been robbed. Where are you? Sarah, did you do this? Are you insane? Sarah, bring the furniture back right now or I'm calling the police. I waited until Monday to open my door to them. They banged on it, 3 sharp, angry knocks. When I opened it, they pushed past me, as darting around my new apartment, spotting their, "Sorry, my things." "This is theft," my dad shouted, red-faced. "You stripped our house." I walked calmly to the table and slammed down the folder. "Sit." They didn't sit. But they stopped yelling. The couch, I pointed to the receipt. My bonus last year. The TV? My tax refund. The fridge? My savings. "We were going to pay you back," my mom cried. "You've been saying that for 5 years, Mom. But you can afford a luxury vacation for Jessica, right? You made a choice. We can't afford 2 tickets. Well, I can't afford to subsidize a household where I don't matter." My sister, Jessica, looked around the apartment. She wasn't yelling. She looked stunned. She saw the receipts. She saw the reality for the first time. The comfort she lived in wasn't provided by our parents. It was provided by me. "You left us with nothing," she whispered. "I left you with exactly what they paid for," I corrected. "If it feels empty, that's because their contribution to this family was empty." My dad threatened to sue. I told him to go ahead, I had the paperwork. My mom tried guilt, the family sticks together speech. But I was done. I told them to leave. The aftermath was messy. The neighbors talked. My parents' reputation as the perfect family crumbled when people realized their daughter had to repossess her own furniture. They had to sleep on air mattresses. They ate takeout because they didn't have pots. But the most surprising thing? 2 weeks later, Jessica called me. She asked to meet at a diner. Not to yell, but to talk. She admitted that she had enjoyed the favoritism, that she had been selfish. She apologized. It wasn't a perfect fix, but she respected my boundary. She saw me, for the first time, not as a resource, but as a person. I didn't rebuild my relationship with my parents immediately. I forced them to go to therapy as a condition for even answering their texts. But here is the victory. I wake up every morning in a home that is mine. I drink coffee from a mug that no one takes for granted. The lesson here isn't just about money. It's about value. If you allow people to treat you like an option, they will never treat you like a priority. You have to be willing to walk away. You have to be willing to let the house be empty so they can finally see how much space you filled. Setting boundaries feels like betrayal to those who benefit from your lack of them. Don't let that stop you. My revenge wasn't hate. My revenge was self-love. So, question for you, would you choose revenge or forgiveness? Or is walking away the ultimate form of both? Smash that like button if you believe in standing up for yourself, and subscribe to the Su Kanya Method for more stories on how to navigate this crazy thing called life. Don't be an extra in your own movie. Be the director.